Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so interesting day then today, 4th of October, whatever time it is. It's broken off for lunch and had a parcel arrive earlier on this morning with Parcel Force. So, as I mentioned the other day, going to open her on camera, and this is for the, so it has my old label on it here from Mr. R, and so this saw was sold on the 25th of September. This is the Husqvarna 180S, and it's always running like a sewing machine, although I never cut with her. Great compression, just a beautiful running engine with a handful of videos, just lovely. And so I have brought out in readiness, let me just check if that table's in shot. Just. Okay, so in readiness to check it. A couple of pairs of pliers, a couple of screwdrivers, a wrench, a spark plug wrench, a new spark plug, and some double filtered fuel. So, in fairness, box looks excellent, well packaged as she was sent. Yep, my original label's underneath, all good. Okay. Right, so looks like the same cardboard. I packed the bar and chain in, which is cool. There then. Now we're going to stop this polystyrene going everywhere. A second. Okay, excellent. Right, so all looks well packed. Let's okay, so okay, right, let's so here she is, nice and clean, covered in oil. So what's the first thing that is interesting is the top covers, which clamp on flush, has been clamped on, and it's not even sitting on properly. So I think what's desperately sad is when somebody tells you they're proficient at working on saws, and when they return something back, they can't even make sure that the top cover is screwed back in position properly. So let's hope that's not an indication of the things we're going to find later on. Okay, I don't think there's anything else we need. So let's put the box there, label. Okay. And of course, when they get clamped on wrong like that, that's why they start to break in the back corners. So what we do, we'll just That's so uncareful to clamp a top cover on without having the metal pins engaged. You know, it should just be clamped on with the pins engaged like this. So, okay, no matter. Right, so we know the top cover's been off and we know that the person hasn't bothered to clamp it back on properly. As long as it's not broken, there's no harm done in that regard. Okay, so I've got a photograph of the screw positions on things like air filters, just so I know if they've been taken apart by other people. So I already know that these screws have been moved, but we can come back to that. So I should have just photographed that. Oh, never, doesn't matter anyway. Okay, it doesn't matter. Let's pull that off. Have a look underneath. Okay, so everything looks nice and clean, and she looks, yep, looks almost identical with this extra grease on it. And interesting, the two front screws are filled up with sawdust or dirt, which, okay. So other than that, everything identical. Let's make sure that's off. Okay, pause over with good compression. Okay, nerdy as well, I know, but I can tell that the spark plug has come out because it's in a different position to when I tightened them, and I photographed them in that position just so I know if anybody's not tampering, but if they're checking things, and then they could potentially send them back and then they're broken. And so I'm mentioning it in this case because this saw left starting every few pulls and perfect, and then within one day of somebody else owning it, I've been told that it doesn't run, and then it takes 20 minutes to start, and then when it starts it's not idling properly, or doesn't idle, doesn't run. So there's only a few reasons that would happen. So okay, let's see if she sparks. Obviously the plug's been out. So, champion plug. So, she's very wet, not that that means anything. Put on there. Kill switch. Okay, so excellent spark, no issue there. Top cap is loose, which is unusual because they're always done tight. I don't know why that's loose, but okay. Check again. Excellent spark, kill switch. No spark, kill switch. Excellent spark. Okay, so we've got good compression, got great spark, and let's get some fuel in the engine. Actually, we'll take the side cover off as well, because she was sent out completely clean and bone dry inside, so okay, so she's got oil dispensing from the pump, so I know that she's obviously been either run or, so there's a lot of oil around, and the inside of here that was bone dry, That's coated with oil as well. And some sawdust or some type of debris. Okay, come back to that. Right then, let's put some fuel in. So it's interesting double filtering fuel, because what you find is if you're mixing fuel in different containers, you can't believe after a while how much debris can kind of transfer one container to the other. So I always kind of mix in one, and then once it's mixed, I'll filter it back into a spare tank. And when I pour from that one, I know it was filtered the first time when I put it in. Then I put my oil mix in, mix it. Then when it's mixed, I'll filter it back in. This is my double filtered mix. So it's really, really clean. So there's a few things then I'm interested to ask people. It'd be great to get people's honest opinion as to what they think is and isn't fair. So this saw is sold for spares or repair, and the return has come back as not fit for purpose. Okay, so let's kill switch, choke, throttle lock. We'll get to the bar and chain in a minute, although it's probably less important. Okay, so that's right. So if I kept pulling like that, we'll give her a few more pulls, because obviously she's been in transit, but that's with choke on, that's with the kill switch on. That should have primed comfortably. Okay, so something's going on. Right. Interesting, isn't it? So within that period of time, it's gone somewhere, and it's just... Guys, going to grab a priming bottle. Let's just do a quick other test. Actually, talking about filtered fuel as well. So somebody else was asking me about the priming bottles, and so on mine I just simply put a inside of these. I got a Husqvarna fuel filter on the inside of this line. So I'm always even priming with filtered fuel. Okay, so there's no denying that what Mr. R has said there is true. That's not even firing, nothing. So we put a piece of, we put some fuel in. Let's see if we have any firing. Okay, so, priming it fires straight away. So the pulling and pulling, so she's not priming. Right, okay. So where do we go from there? If she's not priming, fuel line is attached and looks properly done. So let's take a look at the fuel filter. So we use our pick. So I tend to use really high quality filters, and they okay, right. Let's do that. So this was a brand new filter in the saw, I don't know how well this will come out on camera. Let me get behind and have a look. That has got some brown and black gunk on it, so one second guys, I've got to grab something else. Right, so these are the filters that get fitted. And this is what it looks like after a day. So what we've got then is an engine which fires if you prime it. You put the choke on and it's not pulling any fuel up, or even if it does, he says, it won't stay running. Well, this now starts to make me think that one, he definitely hasn't put in clean fuel. That's absolute a definite. Right, what we do then is we've got to put a brand new filter on it. Guys, make sure that video hasn't stopped with that chime. Okay, cool. Then what we're going to do is we're going to check the carburetor. The carburetor had a brand new high quality Tillotson kit put in it, and the reason they start so well is that it has a correct Husqvarna type fuel line, correct filter. It is always a correct high quality kit for the carburetor, and always the correct high quality spark plug. So when you pull them over, they always work really, really well, and if there's no other underlying problems. But so what we're going to do then, let's take a look inside the carburetor. Now, take the screws off here. I don't wish to take the saw off of camera. I'll keep it on camera, and okay, so all nice and clean. Little manifold at the back for the air filter. Get our pliers and we'll pull out the little circlip for the choke lever so we can disconnect her. Disconnected. Take our throttle arm off. Take this off a second. We'll take off the fuel line. Actually, we could have, obviously with the pump chamber on top, we could have just taken it off on, but it's alright, we'll do it here. Alright, it's no issue. So all lovely and clean. So let's take a look at the carburetor. So guys, I'm going to grab some clean tissue to put that on. Okay, so this will be interesting. So we'll just take off the top cover for the pump chamber, because they have a secondary screen in them as well, or a secondary shield which goes down to the main jet. So okay, well, that's perfectly clean, no issue there at all, perfect. Oh my goodness, okay. Pump, perfect. Right, so Mr. R, I think we've solved why we have a non-running chainsaw after you've had it in your possession. I wonder how well this will come out on camera. The inside front part of the pump chamber has got some type of brown coating, just like this of the fuel filter. And the screen, well, the screen is blocked by the look of it. So this is why it's not priming. So I'll pick it out on camera. Wow, okay. That screen the screen is absolutely, completely I'll have to grab a hold of it, show you it. Look at this. The screen is completely blocked. So, wow, just like a brown gunk over the top of the screen. So whatever fuel mix he has put through that's unusual as well. It's passed through this, must be very fine, and it's caught on the secondary screen inside the carb. So, right, what to do now? How quickly can we clean the carburetor, and it's starting to rain. How quickly can we clean the carburetor, get a new screen, which fortunately I have, I'll pick one out from another kit, we'll put a fresh screen in it and connect it all up again, and let's see what happens, as if I don't already know what's going to happen. So this gentleman told me he had 5 chainsaws and he knew what he was doing. And I'm going to make it crystal clear, I'm not criticising the fact that it's easy to make a mistake, if that's what the problem is with fuel, but that screen's definitely blocked, and that fuel filter has had dirty fuel put through it. So, but it's the claim to eBay to say you sold it and it's not fit for purpose, and it's really disappointing. And I tried for 25 minutes and for a whole day and it hasn't run. And all the while, you've introduced dirty fuel to an engine which left here working perfectly a few days earlier. Okay, but there's only one way to show it as well. I need to get a fresh screen, and I'll get a fresh screen. I'll pause the video, I'll restart it when I've got the stuff here to fit. Hi guys, okay. I have found a brand new screen, took it from another kit. Just want to show people what the difference is. So the one we've taken from the carburetor, which was previously perfectly clean, is absolutely blocked solid. So discard that one. So we have a new screen. So if you're stuck for the correct size pin to insert the screens to get them central, typically on this series of Tillotson carb, an M6 bolt is absolutely perfect, he says. Let me square that up slightly differently. Sorry guys, it's no good. I'm going to have to submit and put the glasses on. Okay, that's better. Yep. It's inevitable. I'll do that first go from now on. Okay then, let's dry the pump. This is out in the rain. The workshop wasn't quite so busy right now. I would have done this on the workshop table, but no matter. Okay. Right, so I never finished my sentence earlier. So, interestingly then, if... And genuinely, I'd love to hear what people think as well. If you sent something to somebody and... You know, people could pick some ridiculous examples. If you sent somebody a vintage 50-year-old Ferrari car and you started that engine up and then it went on a transporter, and then a few days later they unpacked it, they started trying to start it and run it, and then suddenly that engine, after a day of their usage, was no longer working, and you'd had it in your garage for 6 months, a year, and it had been perfect. Would you think it acceptable if they went into the engine bay, stripped out the air filters, took off the covers, took out the spark plugs, and started messing around with it, and started fettling with it, and then pulling out the fuel filter, and then saying, no, I'm sending it back, and you're going to pay for the transporter, and you're going to pay, it's not fit for purpose. And yet the only thing that may have happened is they put their fuel in it. How would you feel if somebody said, you have to pay for the transporter, and you have to pay all my money back, and you've wasted my time? Okay. So is that fair? Is that a fair return? So this, I'd asked the gentleman, he said he'd already checked the fuel filter. So how many of you, if you had a fuel filter like this, with black and brown, would think that was okay and leave that in? And if your engine was still running, you might think, well, it's still running. If your engine wasn't running and you checked the fuel filter and you saw that, how many would you think, right, the first thing I've got to do is change this. If it still doesn't work, I've got to check this. Okay. Let's see how we go. This will be very, very interesting. So, choke lever, fuel. So I don't know if the needle settings are correct. I don't know if Mr. R has altered them. Have no idea. Put those things there. Manifold. First things first then. Throttle linkage. Throttle okay. Little pin to hold the choke lever in. Definitely going to need the glasses for this. Even with the glasses, that is still a challenge. Choke on, manifold. So I realise now there's two things in hindsight that I have omitted to do myself, which that's rushing, and this is already probably a long video. What have I omitted to do? Obvious things as well. I should have pulled the jets out of the carburetor, and I should have blown through them with compressed air. Upon seeing the dirt on the fuel filter, ordinarily I would have primed and flushed and put a tank flush through it and flushed the tank. So, taking it for granted that we have that not done, let's see whether or not we have an engine that now starts. Okay, all back together. Kill switch, choke. Like I said, I don't know what the settings are, but for the jets, but we'll know if she primes. That'll be the first thing straight away. Choke off. Okay, so obviously the carb needs fine tuning again, but so am I surprised? Well, yes and no. I think I'm surprised that somebody buys something and then so quickly knee-jerk reactions and says it's not fit for purpose, tells you they're proficient, tells you they've looked at this which has gone black and brown and that they think that's okay, then tells eBay that it's not fit for purpose, and the only thing that they've done is put their fuel in it, and then you have a blocked carburetor secondary screen. So okay guys, thanks for watching. A little bit long-winded, but an interesting exercise. I haven't even checked the bar and the chain. No, they certainly look like the ones that were sent. So love to have any feedback, whether or not you think, one, it's fair if I should cover the carriage costs and now have to clean the tank out and put another fuel filter in it and have to recheck the carburetor, all the things I've already done, and then it goes to somebody else and then it comes back. Or if people think, oh, I think that's fair. I don't. Guys, thanks for watching. Bye for now.